Cameroonians across the nation and across the world are looking up to Yaoundé for better economy policies, agriculture policies, policies that will move the nation from a consumption to a production country, and a policy that will stabilize the peace within the restive regions in the northwest, the southwest, the northern part of the country, as well as the eastern part of the country, which is faced with the Seleka rebel crisis. Thank God that the government of Cameroon, in that regard, have been able to contain the situation and is monitoring the situation. We are counting from 2016 right up to date 2023. The Anglophone crisis is still yet to be resolved as far as the conflict is concerned. Cameroon government created a commission on the 16th of December 2021. The Commission to Rewrite History was created under firm instruction of the head of state, President Paul Biya, guarantor of national security and #1 statesman of the nation. That this commission be created to look into the different views of history as far as the nation is concerned. It was at a time when the Anglophone crisis was being discussed by different quarters, as many persons across the northwest, the southwest region, and the other parts of the country had different views as to whether Cameroon's foundation in terms of the reunification as well as the United Republic and Federal Republic of Cameroon is concerned, and the Republic of Cameroon is concerned, with some historians giving their diverse views, and Cameroonians in some parts of the country have brandished some historians as being political historians who are not there to speak the truth and also write the truth. Why some have the opinion that Cameroon is united in diversity. Others have the opinion that the foundation of Cameroon need to be looked into accurately, detailedly, in such a way that the foundation should be segmented, that no Cameroonians will feel less of Cameroonian than another. In all of these contexts, therefore, we have witnessed a lot of commission in this country as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. We've had the Ngabu Commission, which was created by the head of state to look into the Ngabu massacre that happened on the 14th of February, as far as in the Ndonga Mantum division, the northwest region of the country is concerned. This commission worked tirelessly and brought out a lot of issues that happened within the area. We also look at the fact that the implementation of the Ngabu Commission is yet to be fully disclosed and also yet to be fully implemented. Let's come now to the Bilingualism Commission. The Bilingualism Commission was created in such a way that to accelerate bilingualism in Cameroon as well as multiculturalism. Its members have been touring the different regions of the country and divisions to preach the gospel of bilingualism, multiculturalism. In this also, many Cameroonians are asking that why is it that despite the creation of the Bilingualism and Multiculturalism Commission aim to preach the good news of bilingualism and multiculturalism, why is it that some ministries, some departments in Cameroon are still not bilingual as they ought to be and should be in a country that is highly bilingual, which is the country of President Biya? Some have the opinion that the level of bilingualism in some ministry is epileptic, in fact troubling, in such a way that documents are only being done in French. Others have the opinion that in some aspect or some regions and the northwest and southwest region, bilingualism in itself too is not respected, as most documents are being done in English. All of this context puts the question that what is still being done within the Bilingualism Commission that has to accelerate the bilingualism of the country. We look at the discussion or the speech from Cameroon's President Paul Biya. Ever since this commission was created, the head of state, who is the guarantor of our security, #1 statesman, has never addressed the nation in English or part of his speech in English. This also paints a picture as to the nature of bilingualism in the country is concerned. Many Cameroonians of good opinion holds it that if the #1 statesman of the country will embrace this bilingualism, perhaps it would motivate others to embrace bilingualism. But as long as since he came to power and since he has been elected and voted sovereignly by the peace-loving people of the nation, that he has not embraced this bilingualism in terms of giving his discourse in English and in French, many Cameroonians say that the Bilingualism Commission still still has a lot of work to do. Within some ministries, it still has a lot of work to do. Keep that aside within the Bilingualism Commission and Multiculturalism. We come now to the Commission to Rewrite History. Ever since they were created, this structure was announced on the 16th of December 2021. We moved 16th of December 2021 to 16th of December 2022. That is 1 year. Move from 16th of December 2022, we are on the 5th of February 2023. So if you look at that, we are counting 1 year, 1 month ever since the Commission to Rewrite Cameroon History was created, with members appointed, top historians, and those who matters as far as the ontology of history is concerned. Virtually, Cameroonians have not been kept to know, or have not been put on the limelight to know what is ongoing within this commission to rewrite history. Members of this commission have not updated the country and have not updated the people as to the situation of this commission. In fact, some members are disgruntled and they are giving the excuse as to the fact that this commission is becoming more of a window dressing. Was it just a cosmetic commission, or do we need another commission in Cameroon to investigate why all these commissions are having epileptic nature in their functioning, in their effectiveness, and in their terms of reference? Should another commission be created to investigate these commissions? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. You're welcome back, and thanks for joining us. Before we kickstart today's edition, I want to call on those who have been watching us. We've had a lot of messages coming to me, and some saying that you keep inviting one and the same people every Sunday. And it's not that I keep inviting one and the same people every day. My numbers are always on the screen, and I've made it clear that if you are of the opinion that you have something to contribute in the topics that are being or which are to be discussed as far as nation building is concerned, you can reach me out and I will include you into our WhatsApp group where topics are always being posted every day or weekly, so that if a topic is of interest to you, you can come and discuss. And some also keep sending messages that this person is not saying the truth. This is what the person should say. Please come and talk, as long as you take responsibility for what you say. And today's edition, I begin by introducing to you my guest, with whom we are going to have a 1 hour, 30-minute discussion. Making into the studio her very first time, Madam Beatrice, who is coming in for her very first time. Happy Sunday, and thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And happy Sunday.
Same to you, sir.
How was your weekend?
Fine.
Okay, also in the studio we have Mr. Ignatius. Mr. Ignatius, a happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday, Jarvis. I would like to comment that the person is one of those people who are complaining of seeing the same faces. Some of them, if you have their number, just invite them one time. In a subsequent program, just call them direct and say that they are invited here, so that they should come and share their own view. And I also like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and share my own ideas concerning issues that are very pertinent concerning our country. You know, we are not so we cannot rest when the country is not going well, and when something is wrong, we must be alert, and then we contribute ideas that will make our country to prosper. Once more, good afternoon. Good afternoon to Mr. Kimbang. Good afternoon to Madam Beatrice.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay.
And also here in the studio we have Mr. Kimbang Vitalis, who is joining us. Mr. Kimbang, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Alice. Happy Sunday, Madam Beatrice.
Thank you. Happy Sunday, sir.
So happy to meet you. Panelists, say happy Sunday, and those who are watching us at home, say happy Sunday to everybody.
How is Bamenda?
No, Bamenda is calm.
Ground zero.
Cambodia is calm, but we still have killings going on. That is the fact.
Okay, and gentlemen, these are the gentlemen and lady with whom we are going to discuss. And also, just to announce to you that on the 11th of February, I will be +1. That is on Saturday.
Wow.
That is 11th of February. I will be +1. Those of you who have been watching the program, you want to join me in celebration, my number is on your screen. Of course, we shall celebrate on the 12th of February, which is on a Sunday, on the same platform. I begin with you, Mr. Kimbang. When we look at this commission, on the 16th of December, a commission was created to rewrite Cameroon's history. You are within the sector of education. You are a publisher. You have also witnessed, you have children going to school. You studied history. Was that commission in itself necessary?
I don't think the commission was very necessary because Cameroon has not started existing today. We have been existing since we got independent, I'm sure, to be 60 years today. And if we come out now to say we are writing the history of our nation, it is as if we are building a nation on falsehood. So I think that that commission was not very, very necessary, because the history books that we have in most of our schools, those books were written by professors who are researchers. And I believe that before they write those books, they must have researched very well before coming up with those books. I quite remember I read the books of Professor Fanso. I read the history books of Julius Ngo. I read so many history books. Yes, all these people. But they judge. Most of them, they are professors, they are doctors, and they have been teaching for years. So when we come out to say that we want to rewrite the history of Cameroon, does that mean that what they were teaching us was wrong history? And how did they do their research before coming out with a wrong history to teach us? So much so that after 50 years, we say, okay, we want to rewrite the history of Cameroon. I think it is a very, very funny situation. So for me, I didn't buy the idea of us rewriting the history of Cameroon. I think that what happened is that some parts of our history, because of one reason or the other, was hidden from us. Because when I quite remember when I was going to school, we only had what we call world affairs. When we are studying the French Revolution, the American War of Independence, and we are mostly studying things that did not concern us. I think Cameroon history came to full existence after the creation of the GC board. So it should not be like history was not written, but I want to believe that certain things were hidden from us for one reason or the other, which is not correct. But that if we are existing like a nation, I remember in Rwanda, they talk about the Rwandan genocide in most of their schools, because it was an error that they made, and they have to talk about it. Then they tell us, no, this was an error that was made, and it was wrong, and they accepted it, and they forgive each other, and they forge ahead. But with Cameroon, it was as if they didn't want people to know certain things. Because I don't believe that I will be in school, I will be studying in Cameroon, then they would brainwash my mind so much so that I keep on studying about British history, American history, African yes, things that do not matter.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
The Cuban Missile Crisis. And all those things.
The American War of Independence.
How relevant were those things to me? That's sometimes I ask my question. I'll give an example here. When my friend came from India, I was bragging.
Indira Gandhi.
Yes, I was bragging about India. Telling him many. Soon I've studied Indian history. After that, he asked me, Vitalis, what? No, he asked me that all these things that you study about India, it was to do what with it. And I look at myself, and yes, and I look very, very foolish, because that's a place I've never been. But they had piling notes. I read throughout the night, studying people that I might never go there. So I think it is, or I can say it was, or it is so foolish that we are studying things that don't matter to us.
Now, 1 year after, 1 year, 1 month, plus days after this commission was created, we have not heard anything from the same commission. Its members have not had sittings to discuss the history, or should we wait for another 26 years as we waited for decentralization?
Many of those who are chosen to write the history, they are all professors of history, and they have all written history books, Cameroon history books. I was just doubting that if they now had to say, okay, they will go back to research and start researching afresh, maybe they will contradict themselves. I think that maybe they sat within themselves. I thought that no, for us to go back again and start writing Cameroon's history will make us look foolish. Maybe that's what on my suggestion, not that that's what they have said, my suggestion. Because I don't think that somebody like Professor Ngo, who has written a whole lot about Cameroon history, when I say, okay, what I wrote all is wrong, I want to write the correct one now, I think it will sound very, very foolish. I'm just suggesting that maybe they have looked at it and they say, no, instead of coming again to contradict ourselves, maybe we just allow it like that.
Okay, Ignatius, your take on this commission, was it first of all necessary?
Really, it is not necessary. The people appointed there, I see it as embarrassment to them, because those are people that we are talking about, people that some of us who have knowledge that came from them. And then today, when we talk in terms of the commission, it is bringing their dignity down. This commission, I will put it in other ways. Jarvis, you know, when you are sick, when there's an illness disturbing you and you don't want to treat it, you wait for the situation to be that's the situation. It goes under more than you can control. By the time you want to treat it, you will begin to take drugs. Even you take even drugs that are not connected to the illness. What am I trying to say? I'm saying that this commission was created in 2021. When you hear the date that it was created, everybody knows why it was created. Most of those commissions that were created during this period of war in the north and the southwest are like painkillers. We still have another one called the Bilingualism, multicultural. So those are the commission on Ngabo. We are still waiting to hear from them. But normally, when you have to go behind, you will notice that Cameroon has always been Cameroon has always been considered as a francophone country. Because normally, my first time I heard our president, he spoke in English when he visited Boya and Bamenda, when things were already going wrong. And this is somebody who addressed the Commonwealth.
It was in Boya in 2014.
Yeah, he spoke there in English. And
just briefly, he said, yeah, history has it that Boya was the capital of Southern Cameroon.
And you could see the reaction of the Cameroonians who were very happy to see him speak in English. It was something good. And then somebody would address the Commonwealth meeting in Cameroon in French. You will notice when you see things around, you will notice that this commission it was not for the real truth. It's just something it was like painkiller to bring down the crisis. I quite remember we have an elite who was nicknamed, I am just forgetting the name, who was nicknamed Mr. Commonwealth. That is a person who personally convinced our president to register Cameroon into the Commonwealth as member of Commonwealth, which means that our president was not even interested in it. And maybe if that person took the initiative to talk to the president, it means that he spoke on the advantageous side. He spoke the advantages of being a member of the Commonwealth. So I'm quoting this thing to say that Cameroon has always been considered as a francophone country. Not English has never been that bilingualism. The English side has never been taken into consideration. If not, like we are talking about, there is a crisis going on. If there are certain things there are factors that provoke this crisis, you will notice that our authorities are dodging from those factors and instead create commissions that cannot really have an impact in the crisis. Those factors I'm talking about. The Anglophones have been clamoring for there are things the deep support, even though it is already on papers now that work has to begin there. We have requested for that. We have requested for see the way things are going. We requested for one mentioned dam. 3 dams were constructed in the south and the east. We requested for the deep seaport. A modern seaport was created in Kribi. You see that those things that we are instead requesting, we have been requesting for the the reconstruction and the bringing Ombe to the level that it was before reunification. Because after reunification, the Ombe was instead brought down, in which Foncha, in one of his video, he said that he was hoping to bring Ombe to an international level. Even like our brothers who are living today are going to Ghana to study there. We could have had that school before Ghana. People could have been migrating from other countries coming to Cameroon in Ombe, in the vision that Foncha had. Instead, that institution has been brought down. So you see that those are some of the important factors that have pushed Anglophone to be complaining. The market board was brought down. Now they are dodging from it, creating a commission. This commission is just because they wanted the crisis to flatter, so that those who are finding the crisis should believe that no, they are now in the course of finding a solution. In which I fear, this is one of the things that make me to begin to feel that there are solutions there are decisions that have been taken towards this situation we are facing in Cameroon that will be reversed if one day peace return to Cameroon and Anglophone say no, everything is over, we are brothers and sisters, and we have always want Cameroon to be. I fear that there are certain situations like this commission we are talking like this, they will use it. By the time they win the war, like the Minister of the Territorial Administration said one time in Kumba, that President Bobby has won. When they win, those decisions will be reversed. So this commission, according to me, what really disturbs me is that it is bringing the dignity of the people who have been appointed to manage. So our blame is going to those who were supposed to give them the go ahead and give the necessary material for them to do what they were supposed to do, and not the personalities themselves.
Okay, yes. Beatrice. 16 December 2021, Commission to rewrite Cameroon history was created under firm instructions from the head of state, President Biya. We are counting 1 year on, and very little, or nothing, not even little, because when you put little, it's like we've been hearing some aspect. Nothing is being heard about this same commission, with members who are top professors, doctors, reputable names, yet to convene meetings for this commission. Was this just another cosmetic solution to resolve the Anglophone crisis, or was it a window dressing? Or should we create another commission to investigate why these commissions all are not working?
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis. When we talk of this commission here to rewrite the history of Cameroon, the question I'm going to ask is, when we talk of rewriting the history of Cameroon, are we going to call the actors to come again on stage and act the scene for us to rewrite, or what are they really wanting, or what do they really want to rewrite in the history of Cameroon? I better prefer that we should preserve the history that is already there, and with the documents that we already have, we should try to preserve them, the document that we already have, to better look for solutions or how to promote the history that we already have done, to rewrite the history. Because I don't think it's an easy thing to start saying that we need to write the history of Cameroon.
Now, let's assume that, okay, a lot of people, you are of the school of thought that not necessary, and now some say, okay, yeah, maybe it's necessary. Well, they've set up the commission, let's see how they work, but we have not heard anything from these members. What could be wrong? Is it that they are not being financed, or is it that the government just wanted to make the world to see that there's a commission to harmonize the history?
Actually, if the government has decided to rewrite the history, it therefore means that he has noticed that there are some things that are either involved or that are excluded from this history. So let us just be patient and wait on the government and wait on those people that are already put in place to write the history. Maybe they are working on it, they are brainstorming on it. Because to write a history or to rewrite a history is not, it's not something that you just sit one day and you do it. You need to take time. You need to take time. So let's just be patient, and we keep waiting or hoping that they will come out with the rewritten history that we want.
But we have, though, even when we look at the way things are happening now with the various failures of some of the commission, do you actually think that something will even come up from this commission?
As according to me, I don't think that something better will come from these commissions put in place, because first of all, our children, or we study history in school. Now, what do they really want to rewrite? Now, when we talk of the origin of Cameroon, will they change the people who originated the Cameroon, or the name Cameroon, or why do they really want to rewrite the Cameroon history? Because when you look at it critically, you will see that I'm sure they are just like trying to blindfold people or to camouflage people, but no, you don't have.
That's some school of thought who says, because for example, we have many of those who said no, Cameroon was one and indivisible. That before the Germans came, Cameroon was one, and that Cameroon is one and indivisible. And a lot of people say no, Cameroon originated from here. This book will say this, and some say that some of these historians wrote to favor political views of different parties, and that is why they think there's need to harmonize this history. When you look at these now, do you believe that what you studied in school is something that needs to be rewritten again? Or do you believe that what we have now should just be preserved?
I don't think that what we have at hand now should be rewritten. Because now in our history, in our Cameroon history, they told us that we have 10 regions, and we are seeing the 10 regions. The 10 regions are there. We know the origin of Cameroon, and it's there. So I don't think that rewriting the history is going to be possible. If actually they want to implement the rewriting of the history, it means that they themselves, they also need to put some effort into this, meaning that as they have signed or decreed that they need to rewrite the history, they should also go into the field and make sure that those people that are to rewrite the history, because I know there are about 114 members that are selected to write the history, to rewrite the history, they should also go and make sure that they are doing the right thing in the field. If not, it's going to cause more harm than good.
Mr. Kimbang, you of the opinion that this commission in itself was not really necessary, or in fact not necessary, looking at the context of what we've been able to study. But Cameroonians in some parts say, yeah, there is need, because the people from the French section seemingly don't understand Cameroon history, don't understand that there were two nations that became one under the reunification, and still within the Northwest and Southwest, there are some loyalists to the government that state that the German Cameroon was the Cameroon that is one and indivisible. And people now ask the question, what becomes of Equatorial Guinea, what becomes of Gabon, what becomes of the other part of the nation, like the Adamawa regions, which was ceded to Nigeria under their own independent vote?
Yeah, we might not be siding with the secessionists, but if we go by history to say that Cameroon was one and indivisible, then Africa was one and indivisible, because when the white man came, Africa was just a lump of country before they divided. I think that when we look about the divisibility of this country, which we look at this at it from the terms of after independence, that when we have boundaries that were drawn after independence, we cannot be talking about Cameroon. Then if we go back to German, yes, we are no more under German. When German came, we know very well that after the defeat of German, Cameroon was divided. Cameroon was divided, and we all followed different cultures. The English people, they had their culture under the British, and the British indirect rule, and the French, they have their culture under the French policy of assimilation, paternalism. Yes. So they have grown up with these tendencies, these two tendencies, and if we had decided that we should come together as one and indivisible Cameroon, that was a very brilliant idea. My worry has always been that merging us together was not a problem, but trying to kill the culture of another people, that's where I have a problem.
I mean, yours.
Yes, trying to kill the culture of another people, that's where I have a problem. Because when you move around and you meet old people, they have that nostalgia that in our own days it was like this. They begin to admire. I mean those in the English zone, they begin to admire the past so much. They admire the past. They say, where our Cameroon Bank, our Medino, they count a lot of things. Our airport in Bisangabang, our Tikio airport. You could see that nostalgia in them. You could see that love for them. That Yoke Dam. So I think that if Cameroon has come together to live as brothers and sisters, then you say, okay, we merge a culture together. We learn from each other. not trying to bring another one down. For example, myself, I'm married from a different tribe. I cannot automatically cancel the culture of my wife because I'm married to her. We practice it. I learn from her, and she learned from me. And we select the good ones, and we select the bad one. I select the good one from her, she select the good aspect of my own culture, and we use it to forge ahead. But my disturbance has always been the issue of trying to kill another person's own identity. That's where I have a worry. That's my point.
Now, where we are, I want us to get into context now as far as the commission is concerned. The members of the same commission, they have not been meeting.
Yes. And
one of the members, Professor Victor Julius Gore, in one of our sisters program here, which is Prime R, lamented the fact that the commission is not being fully supported in terms of financing, and also have not been able to meet in terms of doing their job. And this, many could say that it shows, many analysts looked at his view that which shows that the government is not putting effort that this commission should meet. Now, is the government, when you look at all the fact that we have not heard anything from the commission, should the government not be blamed? Let's say the members are here to meet, or if they had terms of reference, what was their terms of reference? Is it not the right of the public to know what's happening?
Like my brother has said, I think many of these commissions were just created to save like a Panadol to the crisis, because when I look at the history written commission, I still go back to say that this Cameroon history was written. Victor Ngo has been. If I'm proud to talk about history today, it is because I read the books of Victor Ngo, because I read the book of Dr. Fanso and many of those professors. So if they come again to say history, written history again, Cameroon history, my question is, what becomes of what you people taught us? Then secondly, when you talk about all these commissions, like my brother said, the Bilingualism Commission, the problem is not the Bilingualism Commission. It's not like creating commission. The problem is the practicality of what we are doing. Yes, because when you move around, many the French speakers, they have the knowledge that when we talk about bilingualism, it should be the English people understanding French, not them understanding English. And that is why most at times I have chosen my language of expression. When I enter any office, I speak English. You went to school in French, I went to school in English. And I try to understand French as much as I can understand. If I speak my English, you don't understand, I speak it. Because French and English are the two official languages in Cameroon. So I think that for government to have created this commission, and till now the commission has not met, maybe the government has seen that the commission is not very, very necessary. Because if it was necessary, they would have tried to fund it and try to make funds available so that the commission can go ahead. But you cannot create a commission and at last you just throw it to the wind. So I think that at this point I can say that the government is not very, very serious about the commission.
Hello to everyone. I think the Nsungkikang Commission wasn't a bad idea, but firstly, the commission has not fulfilled the purpose for which it was created. Second, I don't think it was a mistake if the commission was created to solve the Anglophone crisis, but because we are in a bilingual country, the commission was important to boost bilingualism and not to solve the Anglophone crisis. This is Jama Yannick Brown writing from Bamenda. Yannick, that's just part of what people mentioned. We are also focusing, our main focus for today is on the commission to rewrite history. What has happened to them? Because we are 1 year on, we have not heard from members of this commission. We have not had a press release coming out from the commission to rewrite history. We have not had even a news conference of this same commission to say, okay, this is the situation, this is what we have been able to do within this past 1 year. Or is it that they are not being given the funding by the government? Mr. Vitalis earlier made mention of the fact that the government, if the government is not saying anything about it, it definitely means they didn't see it as so necessary to pump money on it. Then the question I want to ask is, then why creating the commission? Why blowing the trumpet of the commission? This message reads, hello panelists, greetings to you all in the studio. My opinion, I think the Commission of Bilingualism is a waste of budget with no purpose. Rewriting the history of Cameroon sound like a political gambling. What happened to the old history we had? Is Yaoundé afraid that that some of us from the English-speaking regions are beginning to know the truth and are looking for ways to twist the truth forever? This is coming from Romanus from Boya. Romanus, thank you for your message. I come back to you, Mr. Ignatius. Mr. Vitalis gave the point that if government is not pumping money, it therefore means that the government has seen that the commission is not necessary. The question is, why creating the commission? And also, why are the members of this commission silent if they are not being funded? Is it not also time for them to use their dignity, their honor, their professorship that they studied to come out open and say, this is what is happening? We are not, if it's funding, we are not receiving funding, we have not been receiving funding, we needed to work, we have not had this, had that. So in all honesty and dignity, to preserve my high educational esteem values, I therefore tendered my resignation. 1 year we have not had such in a country if it was normal.
You and I would know how Cameroon is. There are two things. They cannot come, they are they cannot embarrass the president who created that commission. It would be difficult for them to react in a kind of way which is going to look like embarrassment to the head of state. Secondly, they themselves, just like Madam said from there, they themselves are realizing that the commission was not necessary, but they cannot disobey their hierarchy, who is the president of the republic. Like your question said, the commission was not created for the real purpose. The purpose for the commission was to serve as one of the painkillers of the crisis that is going on. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing it doing anything to bring down the crisis. To continue, Jarvis, I'm like somebody, Mr. Kimbang said from there that we cannot depend on that's talking about history. Cameroon has been one. I hate somebody who comes to be your friend only when there's a problem. Somebody who wants to force himself to be your friend when there's a problem. Remember, these people, our fellow Cameroonians, sometimes have been calling us, sometimes call Anglophone Biafra. Somebody has called John Frundi in a rally Biafra, even on TV panels like this. Biafra.
Yeah, somebody called me in Bonaberi. Biafra. I did a video and posted it on my social handle. The person was insulting me. And I did it and posted it. It's still on my Facebook page that I am Biafra. And I schooled the person and I told him that no, we are Cameroonians. We cannot and I will not tolerate such a xenophobic statement from someone who is in a country of old Cameroon, cradle of our fathers. I'm just corroborating what you are saying. Yeah. That was last month in Bonaberi.
Not so long. So I'm trying to say that those statements is when they thought that Cameroon belonged to them. It should not be from the same mouth that will come up today and say, no, we are brothers. It's not the colonial masters that will come and put us apart. We were first of all one before. Those are statements of these scammers. Those are statements of scammers. This division was brought in by them, and now they are struggling to wipe it up. I want to make it clear. It is the one statement Mr. Akeba made from there. If you are married, your wife is from another family and you have a family. The two families are supposed to respect each other. If in case, it means that in a situation of marriage, at least we always say that the husband has an upper hand. But in the case of Cameroon, there is no husband and there is no wife. Here we don't consider somebody as a wife. But what I'm trying to say is that in a situation of a marriage, where the two people come together to make a family, if it happens that the wife has decided to go away, we should listen mostly from the wife and not the husband. Don't listen from the person who is not angry. If you should listen what the angered person is trying to bring up as a reason why he want to quit. So I'm saying that when it concerns this issue, we should not listen to those people who will say Cameroon, Africa has never been have never been a colonial.
Yeah,
those are statements of Cameroon.
Cameroon was one and indivisible.
And indivisible. Those are people. Those are people. I'm saying that they want to be your friend only when in the times of time of problem. So I don't listen to people when it concerns our history, Jarvis, the history, we don't even need to go far. There are certain things around us. What happened about just like Madam was saying, that we have significant dates. Then we cannot change it. Something happened during this day. Something happened, and we are not respecting those days. Should we go and change the date and write? Let's talk about 11 February, Jarvis. Let's talk about 20th May. What did they used to do on 11 February? Cameroon, we have two significant dates. Normally, we had two independent dates. British Cameroon and French Cameroon, we have two independent dates. And these dates are dates that are highly respected in all other countries, the date of independence. According to me, I thought that we could have had two celebrations respecting this date. We take this one and celebrate, and we take this one and celebrate. If you are afraid of these two dates, we are afraid of our own independent day, then what are we going to correct in history?
Maybe the history is coming to...
What do we want to correct?
You continue. Maybe this commission is coming out to look at these two dates and propose that, okay, let us celebrate these two dates as the independent date of the two countries that came together. Because I remember in our secondary primary school days, there was this song we always sung, which is 11 February 1961, the United Nations gave us the option to choose independent or reunification. It was a great day. I don't know whether some of you sang that song, but we sang that song when there's a youth week, and it was he was telling us 11 February 1961, the United Nations gave us the option to choose independent, and the next song was all reunification. It was a great day. Now maybe this commission is coming now to say, okay, let us look at 11 February and 1st of January 1960, 11 February 1961, and put these dates together and say, okay, bam, this is the day that the independence for these nations in a reunified nation.
No, it was done. 20th May was a highly respected date. This date is a date, is 1972. This is a date
that's referendum.
Referendum. This is the date that all Cameroonians, the Anglophones were not grumbling about this date. But you will notice that our problem now has come from 1972. Because what was agreed there, since there is somebody who feel to be having an upper hand when Cameroon is concerned, decided to be twisting what was agreed in Fumban. I'm trying to answer your question. That really we needed a harmonized date which we could be celebrating as our independence. Normally 20th May was really okay. But what has happened to 20th May?
When you say okay, yes. When you say okay 20th May, I will still be briefly. When you say okay 20th May, what are we celebrating on the 20th of May?
No, normally...
Because a lot of school of thought says that was the day when the federation was crucified. And that this is a day where it should be a sad day to some school of thought. That it should be a day that people should not celebrate. Others are saying that because it was a day when the federation was abolished.
Truly, because of what is happening today, that's why people are regretting. Remember, you asked a question that is it not necessary we could take that this we have two dates. Let us harmonize them together and have one unique date that we can celebrate as that will be like independent of the two separate part of the country. That's why I'm saying that 20th May was serving that purpose, but we are regretting today because the terms of the agreement in 1972 were twisted and were not respected. That's why people consider that day today as a date which Cameroonians, especially Anglophones, should dress in black, because normally reunification day after that date it was like we were blackmailed. So we are realizing it today. Yeah.
Hello, panelists. You react. Let me just take on this message. You react. Hello, panelists. I am Maria, following up from Dikome Balwe. I would like to say that history is never rewritten. History is only written. What Cameroon has to do is to put the facts straight. This all right. It says our problem is not creating commissions. We do not want the truth. We are afraid of solving our problems by tackling the root causes. We can create 50 commissions Unless we face the truth and tackle the root causes of our problems sincerely, we shall keep on dancing at the same spot. I regret why Southern Cameroon unified with West Cameroon. This is coming from Edwin from Fumbot. That's your opinion. This one, right, it says, happy Sunday to you, Jarvis, and all talented speakers. I think the government is just wasting resources by creating all the commissions that do not bear any fruit. Instead, they should pay more attention on issues that plagued the nation. Stephen from Yaoundé. This one, right, is a good day, my dearest moderator. My take on this topic is Cameroon's history should not be rewritten. Instead, it should be edited. Facts that were hidden from Cameroonians should be formally exposed or authenticated. Those that were based on falsehood should be cancelled. This is Ruth Njoya writing from Dub. If I don't pronounce that second word name correctly, I'm sorry. My apology. Good afternoon, Mr. Jarvis and other panelists. Victor from Suza. It is good for the history to be rewritten in this country. Contrary to the view of the lady in the studio, it doesn't mean that when writing what we had before, we would destroy. People write textbook and later revise it if they discover that it doesn't meet up with the present aspiration. Talking about the delay from the commission, I think that it is just normal in Cameroon. Why should we complain about this commission as if others have been successful? This one is just failing as the others. Then at the essay, what are you saying?
It's just confused. I don't know whether it's accepting or refusing the fact.
If somebody says textbook are written, later
revise.
Based on the
he does not know what he's saying. Because I am a publisher, you cannot revise a novel.
One has not been there.
You cannot revise a novel. You can only revise books like English,
that's it.
French,
mathematics, something
maybe new method have come up. Well, you revise them. They cannot say, okay, I want to revise Kenjo Jumam, the White Man of God.
No.
So it looks.
Or Ewa, another play.
Yes, another play.
Or Case from the Grassland.
Yeah. No. There is this play, the Palm Wine Drinkard, written by Nigeria, the first African play with very bad English, but you cannot say you want to rewrite it.
We can edit the English.
No, you cannot edit.
That's what I'm saying. That
since it is a novel, you can't do anything about it.
Okay.
But you cannot edit English.
Okay.
French and
that's what I'm saying.
Yes. So you cannot go to history and say, okay, we want to cancel the date now. Cameroon did not get
according to the aspiration, because he said according to the aspiration, you revise according to the aspiration, which means that the aspiration of most people, or some is federation, some are saying confederation, some are saying that unity and decentralized state. So if majority say unity and decentralized state or decentralization, we should edit the history according to the aspiration of decentralization.
See all these things we are saying about Cameroon history going up and down. I think if we have justice in Cameroon, if we have the key word is justice. If we have justice in Cameroon, we will not have to
go back let me continue with some of the messages. Greetings to you all, the panelists. I just wish to know why a condominium that is joint administration between the French and Britain failed. I think the history is there, and therefore no need to rewrite the history. For me, let a commission be created to see what went wrong. This is coming from Kinang Nelson May in Yaoundé. Thank you very much, Kinang. Your message has gotten this one right. It says, a good day, Mr. Jarvis, and greetings to everyone in the studio. The program is so good and nice, one bro. What I want to say about those so-called commissions is that all the commissions created in this country are all useless commissions. I say useless because I see this crisis, since this crisis started, the commission started coming up. None of these commissions have succeeded in solving even one problem in part of this country. So what we think is that the government should stop this issue of commissions creating, and instead they should overlook towards the direction of targeting the root causes of these problems, and they will see that everything in this country will come back to normalcy. Sorry, I am Elad writing from Victoria. Jarvis, good work. Which history are we writing? Anglophones know their history. Like to me should tell the people of Southern Cameroon and the Trust Territory what went wrong. This is coming from EK in Bamenda. The commission, to me, is calm. That's the commission to rewrite history. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, the history of Cameroon need total overhauling because the history is rubbish. This is coming from Temi Hunson. Please use a good word, please. Hi, panelists. Greetings to you. I expected new history is. I think the expected new history is not going to deny that we are two countries that came together. I humbly suggest that we use the money of these commissions to restore and destroy, to restore the destroyed and damaged structures of the Southwest and Northwest regions, the Power Cam, Cameroon Bank, Marketing Board, etc., and try to treat us with equal status and not trying to assimilate the Anglophones like the president of the country said. Julius writing from Boya. This one right, it says, Mr. Jarvis, instead of trying to rewrite the history, which I don't think anything is wrong with it, rather we sit and refresh our history. I think this issue coming up because of the upheavals of the Northwest and Southwest region. Mr. Jarvis, we are wise now and we know the truth. This is Romanus. Max from Germany, one of our members of the House of Commons team. Max, happy Sunday to you. I hope that you are doing well in Germany, and we want to wish you a happy new month officially to you, Max from Germany. This one right, it says, hello Jarvis, to the lady in the studio, hello to you guys. I thought rewriting the history was to publish books for pupils and students to have a generation of Cameroonians where Cameroonians aware of our real history. Therefore, according to me, the commission may be blocked by the infighting between its members for the business behind that purpose. Max Berigny, Max writing from Germany. Max, thank you very much. And I think that could also be the reason, because we have divergent views. Some are accusing others of being political historian. Others are saying that no, what they have written is facts and nothing but the facts. So we are having this contradictory. But however, we were expecting these members to tell us what is happening in the commission, or if they are disgruntled and feel that something is wrong, which they ought to address, which the government is not addressing, they are members of dignity, reputation, they should resign. Good afternoon, House of Commons. The members of this commission have realized that it is not easy to distort facts. History is all about facts. This is coming from Mezu in Yaoundé. They were not coming to distort facts, they were coming to write history. Why are we beating the bush? Truth is like pregnancy. When it comes out, it will prevail. Nobody knows the end of the beginning. Roland, writing from Limbe. This one right, it says, good afternoon, House of Commons. I want to say happy Sunday to the lady in the studio and also to all their panelists, and say that we don't need to rewrite Cameroon history. You wanted to react when I was reading some of the messages?
Yes, because actually some of the messages they are good. All the messages are good, because an individual is just bringing his or her own view of the commission. Now, I will still go back to that point of rewriting the commission or rewriting Cameroon history, because the history is already there. And if we want to rewrite the history of Cameroon, it means that I don't know whether they want to include some things that are happening into the history, or they want to exclude some other things in the history. So that is still my problem about this rewriting Cameroon history. Do they want to include some things in the Cameroon history, or they want to reduce some things in the Cameroon history?
Okay, Mr. Vitalis, there were some messages that you actually were not comfortable with some of the views.
No, I'm not talking about this issue of, I'm saying that one of the things that is making us to think about writing our history is because some people don't feel the country in them, the Cameroonians in them. Reason being that, as our president said, throughout our 50 years or so together, others have been trying to assimilate other people. And I want to say about, if we have justice in Cameroon, where everybody is treated equally, I don't think that we will sit one day and say, okay, let's rewrite our history.
It's true.
All these things coming because some people are feeling that they are not justly treated. And I think that if instead of going to write Cameroon history, let's come. I always talk about this issue of inclusive dialogue. Let's come together, sit as brothers and sisters, dialogue, then we bring up a new Cameroon where everybody will be satisfied. If we say, okay, we want to go and write history, at the end, history, writing Cameroon history is not going to solve the Anglophone problem. It can never solve it. It can never solve it, because at the end of it, or when the book will be published, people will still come out to say, no, this one, the people, since the members of the commission were chosen by the government, it means that they did not write the correct history, because they know Cameroon, they know the people in Cameroon will say, no, they were bribed to write this one, so we cannot accept this one. So the only thing that can make us to accept each other as Cameroonians is for us to sit on the dialogue table and talk like brothers and sisters. We all say about many international bodies have said that let's go back to the root cause. For me, I think that after our agreement in Fumban, if we have just lived like that, we will not be where we are today. It is because we didn't respect what we sat in Fumban as brothers and sisters and agreed. Although people argue that what we did in Fumban, there's no official signature saying that we came together. But I think that if we have lived that way, like what we discussed in Fumban, we will not be in the mess where we are today. So rewriting Cameroon history is not, I don't think that is a solution to the Anglophone crisis.
Okay, it's not a solution. You raised an issue there that you've always been truncating the issue of inclusive dialogue.
Yes.
But there was a Gambian national dialogue. So was it not inclusive?
Jarvis, you remember the other day I said that
because members of your party, Citizen Party, have been saying that the dialogue was very successful and it was inclusive, that we had members of the separatist team, Yani Kawakawa and his team that came, who deposited their arms, who called for peace. We had members of the diasporas who were invited, some came. We had the federalists, we had confederalists like Dr. Ningwanyam, we had the Nijon Frundi of the federalists, and we had government that was dialogue inclusive.
When the child sits for an exam, what determines the success of that child is the results. Yes, the dialogue was held. Mm-hmm. What is the result of the dialogue?
But the result is not out.
See, I go to the Northwest every day. Guns are still being fired every day in Bamenda. As we are speaking like this, nobody can leave Bamenda to Ndop.
So 3 cars burned.
3 cars were burned on Saturday. Nobody can leave Bamenda to Ndop. Nobody can leave Bamenda to Banso through Ndop. Nobody can even leave my village, come to Banso, pass to Bamenda.
Going to my village now, you need to go through Fumban.
Yes.
You don't use Ndop road.
Yes. I want to greet my mother too. She came last night from Kambe to Douala. I spent around 30,000 francs on transport alone. So for us, she would not let come to Bamenda and come down to Douala. So when we talk about this national dialogue, yes, we had the national dialogue, but you cannot talk about solving a problem with somebody, whereas the key actors of that problem were not there. See, there's something. I'm talking from the opinion of the popular opinion that I get on the street in Bamenda. The people, the Anglophone, they believe so much in Ayok Tabe. They believe so much in him, and he was in Kondenge. There was no need sending invitations for people who were brought to come. Some people are already there. Why did you would have just removed the people and say, okay, let's come to the table. You are already in the cage, come to the table, let's discuss. Because people like Yannick Kawakawa and that other guy who runs every day on social media like that, what is their effect on the ground? That's what we have to ask. What is their effect on the ground? Do they have a commanding force in the ground? Well, so that if we were to have an inclusive dialogue today, those on the ground, the fighters, people like the so-called General Nopiti, the so-called General Sagon, and the rest, because these are the people raging havoc. They should also be included. They should talk to them. Because if we just go and sit in Yaoundé and say, okay, we have our national dialogue, and so we want to go and implement it. Sincerely, I think that even those who are in Ndop, who attended the national dialogue, how can you go to Ndop to to preach the outcome of national dialogue? Will you use an helicopter or use an aeroplane? If you look at it critically, it's called that after the national dialogue, you look at it critically, the only person that was able to move around and then maybe preach to his people about what was discussed in national dialogue was Honorable Ngala Gerard. Apart from him, nobody. The rest ended in Yaoundé. And that is why we still have, in most of these divisions, we still have resistance. So if other international bodies have been saying that we should go for an inclusive dialogue, it means that they too have studied and have seen that what we discuss in Yaoundé is not yielding fruit. And so let's go for an inclusive dialogue. Inclusive dialogue where Anglophones now, because we discovered, Anglophones were clamoring for what? For federation and what? Separation. These two aspects were never discussed. Yes, we were all rejected. And we are only talking on one thing. If we have a fight and somebody comes
now let me cue you in. When you say they were all rejected, we have a lot of people who say that what the Prime Minister received, Chief Dr. Joseph Dongute, were the aspiration of the people, that it was decentralization that the people requested. We saw the governor of the Southwest region, Ben Alcala and his delegation, after the consultative talks, meeting with the people, and went to the Prime Minister and said, okay, Mr. Prime Minister, this is what the people requested for, decentralization. See, also from the Northwest region, who is fooling who here?
Jarvis,
who gave a wrong report to the Prime Minister?
The people who are suffering, as far as this war is concerned, are not the people who are in Yaoundé. Not the people who are beside Prime Minister. They are not the people who are beside President Paul Biya. They are the people on the ground. If you go to the ground, that is where you can have the authentic information. Because somebody who lives in Yaoundé and maybe only rushes to Boya to hold a meeting so as to write what the Anglophone needs to go and submit in Yaoundé, might not know the pains that the people on the ground are going through. So I think that if what the people on the ground were asking, if they were discussed, then reasons were given why we cannot succeed, why we cannot have a federation, why we can only have decentralization, and these reasons were so genuine to the people on the ground, I think we'll have peace. But when I quite remember there are some people you see that were shouting needed that federation to be discussed, which was never discussed.
Yes, Bala and his team were shouting at the government national dialogue. Even the chairman of the Social Democratic Front.
Good.
But they were schooled at by some loyalists.
So when you school at these people like this, then now the people on the ground zero, they are watching at it. They now say, okay, it means that the president does not want to listen to us. And so the chaos continues.
Okay.
And so when you look at it, it's called that it is very, very difficult for the soldiers to fight the secessionists without the collaboration of the local population. And now the local population, they are caught in the middle because they don't know whether they should belong here or they should belong here. And to be very candid, they look at Amba to be a necessary evil. And in the Northwest, and I know what I'm thinking, they don't look at Amba to be a necessary evil. And knowing the people too, there's no way, okay, you are my brother in the village, and your son is an Amba, and I'm your brother. Do you think if the soldiers come, I will point your son to be killed? It's difficult. So we are fighting a difficult war.
Family will curse you.
We are fighting a difficult war. This is not a war that you have. This is not a conventional war where an enemy is standing down there and you are standing up here and are facing your enemy. Sometimes it's even it's easy for Ambas to even come to Bamida town and enter into off licenses and drink with the soldiers and go away because they don't wear uniforms. You don't have any machine to detect them. So this is a war that can only be won with the collaboration of the population. And if the aspiration of the population is not listened to,
okay,
I think it's a very, very difficult.
Briefly, before we move to the next topic, you raised an issue that what is the result of the major national dialogue?
Yes.
And I want to give the result from the government perspective.
Yes.
Special status was accorded to the peace of people of the Northwest and Southwest region.
Yes.
Accelerated decentralization was preached. Release of some prisoners, including members of the CRM, were released after the major national dialogue. Yeah. House of Chiefs of the Northwest and Southwest region were given. Now, you say what has been the result?
Well, see, if with my level of education, if I cannot understand what is special status, how would the farmer in the village understand it? What is the impact of the special status on the population? You should be able to see the impact. What is the importance of the House of Chiefs to the population? We should be able to see it. What is the importance of the other one that you call?
House of Chiefs.
House of Chiefs, House of this. All these houses, if we keep on creating houses that do not have...
and give them budget.
Yes, that does not have impact on the ground. I think that we are not doing the right thing.
Okay.
There was no need to create these houses. If we had an inclusive dialogue, there was no need to create house of this, house of this. I think those houses... I live in Bamenda. What are the impact? How do the people feel the creation of these things? How do they feel it?
James from Bamenda writes, good day to you, panelists. To me, history can't be rewritten because the actions can't be taken back. So it stands. I think the so-called commission should be clarified the difference in the history of our country, which should not even exist if not for the fact that some people twist the truth in our history to suit their agenda. I also want to point out to one panelist who said Cameroon was never one and that he should go back and revise his note on the history of Cameroon. It is called reunification in 1961 because they were one before being separated after the First World War. So that was a reunion and not just two new entities coming together for the very first time. Mind you that the document resistance of the Cameroonian people of the partition because it separated many villages and so on and so forth. This is James. James, let me play now a role of a moderator. James, we are talking about the modern state of Cameroon. We're not talking about Cameroon and its landmass. And there have always been that debate of the word reunification and reunification. That what happened in 1961 is unification and not reunification. Whereas school of thought says it is reunification and not unification. And I am of that school of thought which believe that it is unification and not reunification. A state came together. A state, as Mr. Kimbang said, Africa was a landmass, was a single territory. At that time, there was nothing like diplomatic missions, no sovereign state, and instead what we call a modern state. Now, when this colonialism came, the different states were partitioned in different areas and formed the regional blocks, which became known as German bloc, which was known as German Cameroon bloc. At that level, there was no modern state to say this was the state of the Republic of Cameroon with its anthem, with its symbol, with its currency, with its diplomatic mission. Now, it was only after independence where modern state was formed, where we had the first prime minister of the French Cameroon, which became known as André-Marie Mbinda. We had Amadou Ahidjo, which came over. Then we now had the House of Assembly, the ATCAM, the ATCAM, and now we moved to the West Cameroon. We had the first Prime Minister, John Gufoncha. We had the other side, which had its Assembly, the West Cameroon House of Assembly, and the NCNC, Nigeria, National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon. Now, when we are looking at state in itself, the statehood, we are looking at unification. When we are looking at the territory, in terms of territory, without looking at state, we are looking at reunification. But now, within this context where we are looking at statehood, should we still stand under the premise of reunification? It should be reunification. And then I see the need to rewrite Cameroon history. Because we look at the fact as it is, reuniting in two contexts, cultural or the statehood on itself. If Cameroon was one before then, who is the first president of Cameroon before the Germans? Or during the Germans, what was the currency? What was the symbol? What was the diplomatic mission? What was the anthem when Cameroon was one and now reuniting? Germany reunited because they had one president at the time. When we had the West and East Germany, when they came together, they had to reunite. If in Sudan, if they had to come together, the South Sudan and Sudan, if they come together in the nearest future, it will be called reunification. Because at the time, before they split there, they had one president, which was Omar el-Bashir. They had one currency, one anthem. Now they split there, South Sudan has its own anthem. If in future they come together and join, it will be reunification because they have come now as two separate states to reunite. And that is another debate for another day. You wanted to react?
Yes, I was trying to add something on what Mr. Kimbang just said from there. That concerns the major national dialogue. What happened in the major national dialogue is the same thing that happened in Fumban, where we were seeing a document that was written yes and we. That cacophony is the same thing that was applied in the grand national dialogue. That's what I'm trying to say, that cacophonies continue to exist in Cameroon. I quite remember there was a year before around the 2012, something like that, that prison guards of Kodingi went on rampage. They were clamoring for certain conditions. And then gendarmes were sent to go and to stop a strike of other uniformed men. So when they reached there was exchange of blows, and something happened. Some of them lost their lives. But the then Minister of Communication was Jean B.T. Sam. What came from the Minister of Communication was that those prison guards, they drank odontong. What they call odontong. That's what killed them. So that is what, if we continue to exist with this kind of mentality, I don't see Cameroon going to anywhere.
We move now to the next topic. Madam Beatrice, minimum wage reset. Do you think that private sector will respect this minimum wage?
Yes, when we talk of minimum wage here, it refers to the pay package that a worker received after offering a service. Now, when we look at the private sectors, I doubt whether the private sectors are going to respect this minimum wage here. Because first of all, they don't even pay their workers according to their qualifications or according to their skills. And if we actually want the private sectors to respect this minimum wage, the government also needs to do something. That is, the government also needs to add subvention to the private sectors, because a private sector here refers to an individual that has a particular thing that he or she is doing. And now, and when he decides to employ somebody to work in that particular field or in his or her business, we have bargaining skills for our pay package. Now, although the minimum wage is there, it depends also on the employee and the employees. How will they like to treat their workers? So I think that if the government also increase subvention to private sectors, they are also going to respect the increase with this minimum wage rate in our country.
But why should the government increase its subvention to some of these private sectors who first of all are doing business? And you look at the lavish nature that some of these private sectors CEOs enjoy, and owners of schools, especially in schools. Let me be very honest with you. Especially the problem here, I think, is more with private schools.
Yes.
You look at how lavishly they live their life, and you look at how miserable some of these teachers are. Some are paid 25,000. Yes. Some are paid 16,000. Some are even not being paid regularly. In fact, some, the highest time they earn their money is between September, October, November, and after that, December, they start having difficulties to have their salary being paid.
It's because the government has also neglected it, because he only sit and give order that increase in minimum wage rate, and without following up to make sure that the minimum wage rate is being implemented. For example, in schools, actually it's true, there are many people who face a lot of problems when it comes to pay package or salaries. Some schools, they don't even pay their teachers or within the whole year, or they don't even involve them into social insurance. It causes a lot of pains to the workers. So I think now that the government also needs to do something. That is why I said earlier that not only saying or not only increasing it, but make sure that the private sector implement it. Because even with the private sector, they have their own interest. Their own main target is to income and interest. So they will not, like, for them, they feel that they cannot give it to their workers. So as they have already put in place that there is an increase in the minimum wage rate, they should make sure that they go into the field to make that each sector respects this document that is signed out. Because if they just sign the document and sit without going deeply into it to make sure that they have respected it, it means it is not helping anybody. Because when you tell me to do this, and we know the type of country we are living in, when you tell me to do something and you see that I'm not doing it, what are those things that you are going to do to make sure that I must implement what you have asked me to do? So as it is already signed, the minimum wage rate has been increased. We are calling on everybody to respect what the government has said, and they should increase the minimum wage rate.
Okay. It has been increased now to 40-something.
41%, something of that sort.
41,000.
Yes.
And this is a cry. Just about means that 5,000. Just a change of addition of 5,000 francs CFA. And Mr. Kimba, at a time when fuel prices have increased, the price of basic commodities have increased, transport renewal have increased, vignette, VC technique, which is roadworthiness. So what will 5,000 francs first of all do to a Cameroonian who has a lot of fiscal tax, fiscal stamp has increased to 50%, and when you look at all these now, you still believe that the private sector will even respect this minimum wage?
Jarvis, first of all, let me say I want to congratulate the head of state for adding 5,000 francs into the amount that we are crying that he should add. It is when you are talking about private sector respecting it, I was just laughing and thinking about myself. Let me give you a glaring example. When I left school, I was a young man, jobless. I went to one of these companies in Bonaberi to go and look for a job. Then a subcontractor employed us. We are us, around 20 of us, to go and work there. I asked the man, how much will you pay us at the end of the month? The Francophone people told us, no, on passe man. So I think we come back on the montagne. We went there, worked for 1 month. After 1 month, I went to the bank at Aqua. They gave me 27,000 francs. You see, all these things boils down to what? People are so desperate. This 41,000 francs that they are saying that there are no many schools that cannot pay up to that amount. And even they dismiss the teacher today, they will just go into they have a pile like this. They go into the pile, then they call. Other will come and they will replace the very day. So there's no way that any private sector is going to respect that. No private sector will respect it. People will even come and say, okay, the minimum wage in Cameroon is 41,000 francs. Please employ me and pay me 30,000. The people, yes.
They'll be the one to even propose the salary cut.
Yes. This situation is deplorable.
It's deplorable. And these directors of private schools, some of them are very, very wicked.
Really wicked.
I've been dealing with schools for more than 16 years. There are some that during the third term holiday, they'll just say no, they're looking for teachers. The teachers will apply. They'll apply. They say fees for studying of files to 2,000 francs. Yes. 100 teachers can apply. That is 200,000. They keep in their pocket. Then now all of you come for the interview.
You're right.
They say go and wait. You wait forever. And they do it every year.
It's always there every year. It's always there with private sectors.
Every year. And they are collecting money. So the only saying that they have even they say they have increased it to any, there's no need saying that they have increased it. Because it's going to have, it's not having no impact on the ground. We have no impact. Because people are so desperate. People are so desperate in such a way that even if the proprietor even call a meeting on Monday and say, okay, those who want that, they should respect the minimum package, show up their hand, nobody will show. Nobody will, yes.
They are afraid to be
yes,
sacked.
Because when you
that's the first thing, they are afraid to be
sacked. When you show up your hand, they'll say, okay. See, there's one school around Bepanda here. I stood there one day and I cried. A teacher left in the morning, the child was not feeling well. The teacher came to school to beg for permission. The proprietress was not in school. The teacher took the child and went to the hospital. On coming back around 8:30, the lady stood at the gate and said, just go back to the house, you have been dismissed. And that is all. The man has been dismissed. He was dismissed. Where will you take her to? She has her money, she has her connection, she has her everything. You are just a poor child from the village. What can you do? That is the situation where many of us Cameroonians will find ourselves today. So saying that they have increased the minimum wage or not, or this, is not going to help anything. If, okay, for example, they say they have increased salaries, civil servants, 5.2%. If you calculate 5.2% of most of these civil servants' basic salary, maybe it's not up to 6,000 or 5,000 francs. What can 5,000 or 6,000 francs do to you in this present moment in Douala or any other part of this country? And now, I think I'm just reading a communique here where they are proposing that taxi fare is from 259, it has gone up to 300 francs. I'm just reading in here now like this. Maybe it will take effect. When it take effect, for example, if you have 2 taxi drops before you reach your job site every day, after 1 month, calculate how much you have spent.
You spend more on the transport fare, not to talk of feeding and housing.
stealing and harassing. So it is just a desperate situation. So we just pray God that that at least God should intervene, because we are just begging on the intervention of God. Because the big people in this country, they don't even feel the impact. Yes, they don't feel the impact. It is those of us, the small fishes, that are feeling the impact. Okay. Because if they say that taxi fare is 1,000 francs, they will pay.
It's nothing to them.
Nothing to them. Yes, so our cry is the people who are down the ladder, not them up there.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good people. It is a shame to whoever is asking for a rewrite history of the history of Cameroon. For whoever is asking for a rewrite of the history of Cameroon, I will only ask them to go back to school and study what is called history. Clinton writing from Bamenda. This other read is right. It says, please, Mr. Jarvis, whatever the call is Yanikawakawa, or what the people should know is that he and his flock of thieves who went to the national monologue in Yaoundé are not representing anything concerning the Anglophones. They were just called up to play a show and in their hall. And please, those who called them there now, I want to ask the people if they were real representatives, and so people are saying to them, why is the war still ongoing? This is Eli from Victoria. I want to wish a happy birthday to you, Madame Nyam Robert. Madame Nyam Robert, who celebrated the birthday yesterday at the Bonamusadi. Happy birthday to you, Madame. And also, I want to wish a special happy birthday to you, which is today. That is Rinda Yajengwa. Rinda Yajengwa, happy birthday to you, Miss T, and many more years. And may the good God continue to guide you. And also, those of you who are celebrating your birthday this month of February, I want to wish you a very, very special happy birthday to you guys, and many more years to you guys. Valerie, who is celebrating the birthday on Monday, I want to wish you, Valerie, celebrating the birthday on Monday, which is tomorrow, a happy birthday to you. And those of you who celebrated your own at the beginning of February, happy birthday to you all, and many more years. My own birthday will be coming up on the 11th of February, which is on Saturday, and I hope to celebrate it on Sunday, 11th of February, which I hope to celebrate my own birthday, which is the day I was born, the day of National March Past, 11th of February, Publicity Day. That was when I was born. If you want to join me in the celebration, if you are watching the program, you can contact me on the numbers on your screen. I will tell you how the celebration will go. In case you have a gift to give me, as far as this program House of Commons is concerned, I'm willing to take. Mr. Ignatius, your take on this minimum wage rate. Do you think private sector will respect it?
I would propose that it may be the president need to also create a commission of salary increase in the private sector, since we are used to that situation. Because I have once said here that our government has auctioned the common man in Cameroon to the great landlord. It means that the common man has been auctioned to the business people, complete auction. That was it. Maybe another commission will be created to study it, because all what you have said here is the bitter truth. Nothing is going to take place. See what has happened. Like the 5,000 we are talking about, is like you come to me, you take 50,000 away from me, and then you give me 5,000, because really the price increase in the market is not the one that we can be talking about today. The private sector. You asked me a question here, Jarvis, last time when we were talking about our children going to the Middle East. And what I said here was that the push factors are more than the pulling factors. That statement applies to what we are saying today concerning the private sector. The push factors are more than the pulling factors. Because you see somebody who is fighting to take a job where other people are being maltreated. What is pushing them out of their homes is hunger. You see, you are working somewhere where you are maltreated. And then you see about 30 people standing by, waiting for the day they will sack you for them to come in and they take the job, because it is not moving with them, which means that the situation in the private sector is deplorable. The government has abandoned the private sector to the rich people to manage your citizens the way they want. As a Cameroonian will invest, some people, a person will take around 50 million and invest in a business. and employ people. In a space of around 10 years, you see him counting already hundreds of millions. You see him driving in expensive cars. The people who started a company are unable to construct a 2-room house for himself and the family. And the government is there saying, I'm happy Madam said something, yes. When it concerns schools, that is the highest sector that is a call for concern. The government is instead helping the private, those proprietors in the private sectors to treat your citizens well, because just there are certain things we need to know. There's something Madam mentioned from here, subvention in the private school. How does subvention, I want to make us understand when subvention started. This, you know, this cry in the private sector has not started today. You know, it has started many years ago when the private sector, the teachers were crying. So when the government tried to intervene, now the owners of private school, their complaint was that they don't have enough funds to pay their teachers throughout the 12 months. So the government went behind and thought that it was necessary to support the private sector to pay their teachers maybe 12 months of the year. Now, the government came with this subvention. It's not all the schools that take. Those schools that receive is, you know, there are controls that come in schools annually. There is the subdivisional one, the divisional one, the regional one, and even the national control. So when they come, there are certain things that they go through. They control toilet, classroom, those necessities that make children to be comfortable in school. And those people making those necessities are the teachers who are working hard for the school to score. They give point. When the school score a pass mark, that's when the subvention comes in. But unfortunately, founders have instead taken that subvention as a source of finance. Yes. You will see a founder who has already built a school and it is well constructed. There's nothing to do there. He still succeeded to take that subvention, buy another plot and launch a second school. When teachers who were pioneer teachers in the first school, some of them are not yet on 12 months. And the government is there saying, those people who even come around to control, like the inspectors, they have one mission, to come and receive envelope and leave. So the government is, I don't know about the private sector you are talking about, because maybe it's now that the government has to intervene in the private sector, because the government has never been defending the private sector. Okay. They manage the private sector the way this
one, right? Yeah. How can the private sector respect the minimum wage when most of them do not even pay regularly? We work millions for proprietors, but we receive an insult. This is coming from Edwin from Fumbot. Thank you. We're out of time. Thank you, Beatrice, for coming.
That's my pleasure.
And thank you very much also for coming, Mr. Kimbang.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis. I want to say that the private sector in Cameroon is just a very miserable sector. I remember I started a company as a regional manager, and one day they brought a letter. Somebody brought a letter in the tax and gave me. When I opened it, it was a dismissal letter. After I put all my strength to see that company grew, but thank God, at least I'm somewhere. So I want to say happy Sunday once more to all the televiewers who are watching us now.
And also to Ngala Gerard.
Yes, and to my brother, Honorable Town for me, Ngala Gerard, and the wife.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. We are expecting that the government should create a commission and take care of the private sector, because as we are talking,
another commission.
Yeah, we are used to commission. Let another commission be created, and we are talking because during the COVID-19, some of them profited from that one and refused even to pay their Yes. What if since something we have been used to, if it is necessary to use it to take care, then I want to send greeting to the parliamentarian of Batibo. Jarvis is something which is very touching. You know, the way our legislators came up this time, the people of Batibo, we don't know our parliamentarian. He was voted, I don't know whether it's in Yaoundé, and it seems in Yaoundé. If you let him come through any TV channel and present himself, let the people of Batibo know him. Because I happen to know him, he was an elder in school.
So that's why you're greeting him.
Yeah, I'm greeting him and saying that your people do not know you. Make yourself known.
We're out of time. We're out of time. Thank you very much, gentlemen and lady, for coming. It's been a very rich discussion. This program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30. produced by Desmond Akeba, as well as the broadcasters who are there. We want to say thank you very much for your time. If you want to be a panelist to this program, you can contact me on the number 676-431-384. I will link you up. You'll be a panelist. So those of you who criticize us, thank you very much. Those of you who give us journalism lessons, thank you very much. And those of you who appreciated us, I want to also say thank you very much. And I want to also invite you all for my birthday celebration, which is on Saturday. I will be celebrating plus 1 year. And of course, Sunday, you can join me with the celebration at Fengu John Bange. And to say that no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you is that you should stay out of trouble. My name is Tah Mai Jarvis from Cameroon's commercial capital, Fengu John Bange Kotobo Namusadi. Bye-bye.
Welcome to a new world of TV broadcasting. My Major Prime. News, discovery, culture, sports, entertainment. A BT Media Group channel with slogan, The African